What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jennison, with my lovely wife,
Kendra Jennison.
Way cooler than me. We got a great show for you, actually. I think we skipped last week, which, by the way, sucks due to the fact that we need to stay consistent with this, honey. So we're just going to call ourselves out right as we go. But that was because I think I was sick. Right? I think I was sick and I wasn't feeling too hot. So I've got a great topic. I'm going to go off on a tangent for a couple minutes, which is what we normally do.
Per usual.
What I normally do. Then I'm going to bring this thing home so that we can actually talk and give some value with a call to action for something I want them to do today with their partner, man, woman, whatever it is, that boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever they're dating, how that's working. So there's one in every family. That is the topic. This was a choice that I made long before I even met you. This was a choice that I made in 2016 when I decided to take my life back. It wasn't the first choice that I made, but it was the choice that I made as life started progressing, happening. I was happening to life. Life wasn't happening to me. I was taking this thing back, and I came down to make a choice. As you know, me and my wife, I make thousands and thousands of choices every day, small, minor choices. But I make all the choices pretty much, which actually isn't true, right? I think I make the final decision of the choices, but it's always really ran through you. And that doesn't mean like if I ask to buy something with money or whatever, but like I always just get your agreeance in on what we do. But this choice was different. This was a generational choice. This was a choice that was made probably before you even realized that I was going to be your husband, going to be your man, going to be the guy that's going to change the rest of your kids' life, right? The girls you had that I now have, that's going to change their grandkids. It was just, the choice was real simple. I had a vision of a wall. Okay. So if you're a man out here, or a woman, right? Because like even my man Kevin, like he comes from I'm just gonna call it a single mom, right? Like it doesn't matter. You could be a woman that's raising a man or girls or whatever, and you can make this choice too. But for me, it was this hallway. It was a painting. It was a picture of all the forefathers that came. And you may have heard this in some of my other stuff. I've been preaching it since 2016, but there was this long hallway of life, and it was all, my dad, my uncle, my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, as the thing goes on and on, people I don't even know. But I knew this vision that I wanted for myself was real simple. When all the kids in the future generations were going to come, they were going to walk to my picture, my portrait, right? I'm going to be up there like on the Mona Lisa or like a picture of George Washington, and they're going to say, because of this motherfucker right here, right? And they're going to be able to swear in that hallway, even if they're 2 or 3 years old. But because of this motherfucker right here, our life changed. And it's interesting. Why I wanted to bring that to the topic today and talk about it was because I had that set in stone for myself long before I met you. However, we were just at not a concert. I guess it was a concert. There was some concert
mastermind
stuff. Yeah, mastermind concert, fun. We're at an event this weekend, and part of the topic was there's always one in every family, right? I think it was Ed Milet that said that. Like he was that guy for his family that changed it, their financial future, their security, physically, emotionally, just the way that the way that the last name is represented. Yes. I come from a family of shit, straight up. Like my grandpa was in jail. I'm in my baby book that you have. There's a picture that he wrote to me from prison, right? Like that's where I come from. How to write bad checks at young age, how to use my sales skills, the life that I know for forms of manipulation is what they did versus doing it for the right things. And anyways, back to this thing, there's always one in the family. I made a choice and a decision for myself to be the guy in the family, the rock in the family that was going to change the fucking generational curse. The curse wasn't about fucking alcohol, right? Because I'll be honest, like I'll throw some people under the bus. Every one of my people in my family was a cheater.
Yeah.
Right. But like even myself included, I guess before I met you and made this thing, like I'm going to commit to you. Cheating doesn't always necessarily mean like fucking, but the reality is like if you're getting attention somewhere else, that's cheating. And in today's day and age, it's easy to do with social media, Instagram, especially for me, if I really wanted to, right? Like people think I'm cool. I don't know why, but they think I'm cool. Like
you are cool.
And it's how you came into my world, if we're being honest.
It is
right?
true.
You were freaking setting me up on the DMs. But here's what I want to talk about. The oak tree, right? There's one in every family. Where I'm going with this. I decided to be this. There was the vision of the wall, right? They're going to change with the paintings, but then I decided to be an oak tree. An oak tree's fucking strong. They grow to be huge. They've got big old arms or limbs or whatever. But my oak got stronger when I chose the right woman. And I wanted to talk about the power and the importance of being the oak tree together. What does that look like? And how do you create the strength in the wood? Right? How do you create the strength in the wood on a daily basis? And some of the things I want to lead you up to is I wanted you to talk about the importance of self-development. I went on a rant, right? Sure. I just took you front row. I changed your life. Right?
Undoubtedly. Yeah.
You did. You were there. Like, you got me to do things that I didn't want to do. For those of my listeners and stuff, what I realize about life is I'm not going to take it so fucking seriously that I don't enjoy every little component of sitting in the front with her, having a great, I would never sit in the front.
Sure.
But here I am front and center at this event and you wanted to be there, right?
I wanted to be right up front.
I want you to talk about the power of self-development for you. Mm-hmm. What do you bring to this oak? I want you guys to share this with your wives, or if you're a woman that's listening to this because you follow Kendra, or you people know who we are now. And what about how do you make that oak stronger? Talk to me about what you learned this week. That's really what I wanted to do here.
Yeah. So I want to start kind of in the beginning, because my story, how I grew up, is it's a whole different story than how you grew up. Like you said, you kind of had a family of scam artists, if you will. You kind of figured out how to do things the wrong way, lie, cheat, steal. That was your example as you grow up. You decided as you grew up that you're not going to be that man. Right from wrong, you know better, you do better. And that's what you did. So you went on this whole path of self-development. For me, I grew up really, really well off. Great family. My dad owned a heating and cooling company. I was well taken care of. My mom was a stay-at-home mom my whole life. No doubt did I have a very privileged, amazing childhood, and I'm thankful for that every day. But one thing that I find so strange, and I wish it's something that we teach our kids, is growing up much like all these people on here, because there's wives that have grown up like me. There's people that have grown up like me where I'm just like, well, dang. I grew up really, really well off. It's just all I know. What I didn't grow up with was my parents ever talking about dreams or their goals, or it literally non-existent. I'm sure even till this day, if I go and I ask my mom, like, hey, what inspires you? What are your goals? What are your dreams? She would be like, well, I don't she would have no idea.
Be careful, because I know she listens to everything we do.
She does. But
I love you, Nana.
And I don't mean that as like a diss, but I didn't hear that growing up, so I didn't think about that at all in my life. I wasn't one of those kids that was like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to be when I grow up. This is what I want to do with my life. I didn't have that because my parents didn't do that. I had a great example of you go to work. If you have kids, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom. And I grew up doing that. I didn't think about, even when I was 17, growing up, all these kids are like, I'm going to college, I'm dreaming big, I'm doing this, I'm going to be a doctor. And I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm going to be, what I'm going to do. But where I'm going with this is...
so you decided to join the Army.
I did decide to join the Army.
And if anyone's met Kendra, they see her, she's, she doesn't like when I say small, but she's like a pretty... I saw your picture. You're a young, pretty little kid, and you're going to go out. You ended up going to serve in the military. Right? It's pretty fucking amazing if you really, really want to boil it down to. Right?
Yeah,
it really is.
And a lot of people, I have to just say this because a lot of people do see me and they're like, "Oh, like you're a very small, tiny," which I hate that word, but
scrawny, you're scrawny.
You're pretty. I did not have like a desk job. I was not some like military nurse. I was like front lines type of deal. So I got to put that out there.
Yeah, I sleep next to you. I know when you're having PTSD, and this could be another topic, right. But you're kicking and screaming and fighting in your sleep, and I'm like, fuck, is she gonna wake up and shoot me? Because
I gotta be ready. But no, but where I'm going with this is self-development and goals and dreams. I was very comfortable. It was not something that I had ever. I didn't know it existed. Bottom line, I didn't know it existed. Then I met you, right? The fast forward many, many, many years later, I met you, and everything about you was goals, dreams. What do you think about money? What, like all these, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was a little overwhelmed. In a good way, overwhelmed, but it really forced me, because I wanted to be with you so badly. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I've never heard somebody talk like this to me before. I've never heard somebody dream as big. I've never heard this before. It's awesome. And if I'm going to be with him, I knew in my head that, well, dang, I better start working on the self-development too. And my self-development, I did not start by reading all these books. I had no idea where to start. I think I literally just started listening to like motivational speeches on YouTube. I was like, hey, you know what? All right, I'm buying into this. I like what he's saying. So that's what I started to do. But I didn't know it existed, I guess is where I'm going with. So there's wives out here who you know, their husbands are in the comeback and they have this husband now who's like speaking all this life and positive and future and all this amazing stuff into them like you did. And they're probably like, what the heck is going on? Like,
it's not probably, they are.
They are. No, I know they are. Yeah. And they're like, okay.
There's an interesting thing about those wives.
Right. I like it. It's cool. I see that he's trying to do this. And the greatest thing that ever happened to me that I've ever done in my entire life, and I'm still continuing to do. I'm not even close to the same level as you when it comes to self-development, and I'm good with that. But why I'm good with that is because I know that I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep, and you're going to keep growing too. But and I'm going to learn from you. You're my. Everybody knows that it's like, oh, where'd you? I'm just like, I learned that from my husband. Like, yeah, he's my number one coach, my number one. But it's in terms of like this massive oak tree and these branches and us like being this like strong force together is only because I bought into the vision that you casted, this self-development, like, hey, listen, yeah, you're good, but there's so much more to learn. And why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to go learn that? Expand my knowledge, expand, you know?
So we heard this weekend, or this past weekend about, you know, one thing is for sure, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Right. Why would you not then multiply and win every day? Like, why would you not go all in? And then I've known that, I've said that to myself since day one, that even I thought about that, right? Like questioning everything. The juice of our lives is in the questions of the life of growth, right? Yep. And why would you not grow? And then the reason that I wanted you to talk about that, because, or back to what you said about the whys, they definitely think that they want a change until they realize that they have to change too.
One of the hardest things for women, for anybody to accept, is that you are the one that's been holding you back the whole time. I mean, you have it. Stop fucking lying. I'm not talking about like actual lies. The sky is blue. No, actually, the sky is green. Whatever lies. I'm talking about the lies. You're talking about the lies that we tell ourselves, right? I could tell you all. I could say all day long, like, oh yeah, you know, I'm self-development. I'm doing. It's just like, okay, but I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be. I'm not going to pretend that I am. I'm going to stop lying to myself about the work that I'm doing, because I could always do more work. You could always do more work, right? And it's just being brutally honest with yourself and being okay with being honest with yourself and saying, I got more work to do. Yeah. We have more work to do.
In a lot of things, especially with what we deal with, right? We could talk about the alcohol, but the guys, for so long, the wives, I mean, if Nana's listening to this, not throwing it under the bus, but in a household like yours, right? Like everyone wants to blame it on the drinking.
Everybody
Even
does.
the wives. Just stop drinking and then we're going to be okay.
If you wouldn't drink, we wouldn't be in this situation. If you would just do that, right? Yeah, it's.
But there's an issue that happens when the guy drinks. They stop. You're never staying the same. Okay.
Never.
Right. So you're never staying the same. So as you are sedating and I use the word sedation, but as you are drinking and going further and further into your shit pit of life, and your wife is saying, just change, just stop this one thing. Stop this one thing. You're actually not just stopping this one thing. You're actually going backwards in your life.
Because if you're not growing,
because what comes with, well, and it's not even about, it is, you're right. You're going backwards, but think about you're growing in reverse.
Sure.
You're actually
growing in negativity.
You're actually growing negativity, right? Yeah. You're growing in strength in lack of confidence. Yeah. You're adding strength to the shame and the guilt. You're adding strength to the fear. You're adding strength to the pain. You're adding strength to the lies. Yeah. So the wife thinks this is just drinking or whatever, or cheating or whatever bullshit is going on in your life, right? You think you just need to solve the problem, but the truth is the problem is not the problem, right? The problem is actually the man. And then what happens, especially if a guy's following me, like I can take you from fucking zero to hero, like
very quickly.
If you have an open, it's not what I do, it's what they do, but it's just this path and this process known as the 7 Fs that actually opens up the gap of creation. And all of a sudden these dudes are off to the races. We talk about this over and over and over, but a wife or a girlfriend, they're like, they want you to stop the drinking. They want you to change. They think they want this big, massive life. When all of a sudden the dude goes like a fucking goes like a boner straight up in the air, right? Yeah. Dude's like a boner shooting up into the air and doing amazing things. And he's got this path that he wants. And the wife's like, wait a minute, now I have to change.
Now I have to, uh-oh. now, since my husband growing it, maybe he wasn't the problem, such a big problem after all.
Wait,
now,
the alcohol's gone.
Now why are we still stuck? Why do I still? Well, you have to look at yourself in the mirror, and you got to start going to work on yourself. And that's a hard thing for women to do, because for so long that blame game is it's him. This is the reason our marriage is shitty. This is the reason. It's his drinking. It's this. And then they get that fix. Yep. Like you said, 0 to hero real quick, and it forces them to look in the mirror and be like, well, shit.
The addiction, which they think it is, right? Which is BS. But the surface level drink, drugs, food, gambling, whatever problem dude is using. Successful dudes can only fuck your life up in 2 or 3 real ways, right? So once that is gone, all of a sudden the wife looks at it, and you have to take an honest look at your relationship, and you have to ask yourself, like, are we an oak or are we a split oak, right? Are we a
willow tree blowing in the wind,
willow tree just blowing in the wind, right? Whippy willow, just back and forth with no roots, no foundation, no stabilization, no dreams, no goal, no desire. Like we're fortunate. Like you're fortunate that you fucked up your life in a shitty relationship before this. I'm fortunate that I was the shittiest husband. I wasn't even a husband, but like shittiest relationship guy before, right? That I could be, because I realized that's not who I want to be. And then we decided to have this creation and rise together to create something fucking worthwhile for nobody but us.
Exactly. And you want to know what's cool is we always talk about the husband and wives who, you know, seemingly the husband goes from 0 to, but there are wives that, and I've helped coach them, that they're on the same page. They see their husbands doing the 7Fs. They see them and they're like, hey, like, I want that too. And they jump right on the train and they grow together. And those couples, you know, they're a perfect testament of how this really works, how this relation, how the 7Fs work, what I Am a Comeback really is.
It comes down to leadership, guys.
Massive.
Women are leaders too, but at home or in this life, and maybe we just have like this isn't like discriminating towards women empowerment or like, you know.
Doesn't matter if
feminine,
you're.
But I don't even know the fucking words.
I get you.
But like, I don't want to sound like some chauvinist fucking pig, because that's not who I am.
No, you're not.
But I also know that if it comes down to who's going to go out and fucking fight and die, not that you couldn't do it, I'm going to put myself out for the world, because that's what a man does.
And truthfully, even women in power, women who, you know, are proud to be the breadwinner and they can do this and I got the world and I can handle it. Even the strongest women leaders want to be led by their man. Bottom line, I don't give a shit how much women empowerment you are. I'm all for that too. Hey, you go and do. I
would imagine even in this could be in like a gay or a lesbian relationship. I would imagine that even in some of that dynamic, there's got to be a leader.
There has to be a leader.
I would love to interview somebody and find out what that is like in their household, because I mean, I don't care how they live their life, but I would imagine that there's... What's
that dynamic? How does that work?
There's somebody that's leading, right? There's somebody that you can't just be the same. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all.
So I want to go back to talk about, you know, one thing as we're on there, right? My biggest takeaway from this weekend, for me was that, and this is probably something you wanted to see as me being the leader, that I am a equal. And I'm just going to say it on this podcast for people to go back and watch in years to years. There was no reason I'm not on every fucking stage, except for the fact that I didn't put me on the stage, because I didn't think I was as good as everybody else, which was a self-limiting belief held to me all the way back from my dad. For some reason, like I just told you before, like not thinking I'm good enough, because he would back me into these corners of life and tell me I'm not good enough. And my brother is so much better than me, and everyone is so much better than me. And I'm a fucking I'm a fat piece of fucking shit. But I would go out and I would take so much action in my life I never thought about until I really thought about it. My biggest takeaway is that I'm coming. Nobody's coming to save me. I'm taking my wife with me to the top. We're going to have everything this fucking world's going to give us, right? Because we're going to, like, what it's going to give us, because I'm going to ask for it. Yep. That's better friendships. It's better relationships. That's more money. It's more sex. That's more energy. It's more fucking love. It's more commitment to one another. And fuck everybody else. That's what I took away. What did you take away?
I agree with that.
But that's for me. What about you, honey? Like, don't agree with me. Like, what is Kendra fucking
still the greatest thing that you continue to give me, besides so many wonderful things in our relationship, all those things that you just listed off, going to events like this and surrounding ourselves with people who are doing better, who are doing more, that still, to me, it inspires me to think bigger. I'm still in a position. Think back to 5 years ago. Oh my goodness, I was still so small-minded, still so safe, still so small, and I'm okay with admitting that, because year after
But it
year.
worked.
Of course,
It worked to get here.
because I was eager to learn, because I was eager to grow. I
Yes.
never stayed in this like small-minded spot. You put me in front of positions, you talked to me, you led me, you guided me, and I listened and I followed. Because I liked it and I saw you're a man of your word. Everything that you said, I was like, okay, I can buy into this because you're doing exactly what you say you're going to do. The words that you're speaking into me and into our kids and into our life is happening on a day-to-day basis. I buy into that so quickly. Any woman would buy into that. So any man would buy into that so quickly if you're a man of your word and you do that. But year after year after year, just surrounding myself and doing these events and watching you even speak, watching you coach, going to masterminds and finding these like places to get into inspires me. It forces me to think bigger. Nothing makes me happier literally than one concerts, because I love live music, but
Sure.
but going to these events, hearing and seeing people speaking life in speaking life. I mean, honestly, and I love knowing that, dang, I think big. Right now, I have this like in my head where I think pretty big. I have you talking to me, then leaving feeling inspired and being like, damn it, I got to think a little bigger. And I know that's going to continuously happen year after year after year until and forever, because I want it to. And there's going to be so many different things that I have to learn, so many other things that I want to learn, that I get to learn, and I'm not going to stop. And I know you're not going to stop. So what does that say about us? What does that do for us? We're limitless.
What did Logan Paul say? Like nothing is, he does impossible shit every day. We heard him say that.
Impossible stuff happens every day.
Impossible stuff happens every day, right? What did he say? There's a book called The Power of No. I'm never going to read it, but
Yeah, that was funny.
right. But I'm going to say it was a pretty good thing. Anyways, so the last thing I got a couple more things I want to talk about. One of the coolest things I think about us, if I take a second just to brag on us, is not just us on this weekend, is our ability to truly be happy for people when they're winning.
And I love that. I agree.
I think there's a lot of fake motherfuckers out there.
Of course there is.
I guarantee a lot of people they're not very happy for us.
I gotta be honest. I genuinely, there's a lot of really mean, horrible people out there winning. And success and winning looks different to everybody. But I love to see good-hearted, down-to-earth, just amazing people winning. I'm here to support that all day long. People, authentic people. I really got so many amazing, good energies, good vibes, authentic vibes from the event that we were at, and I love to see that. It's the exact type of thing that I see in you. Like authenticity, being who you are, just saying your truth, starting from nothing, going to something, and just helping people.
Yeah.
And I love to see that.
And the reason I brought that up is because I know that like a lot of people didn't want to see us win. And I don't think we're winning to the levels we're going to win on, but I was really super stoked when I came back and you sent those messages to all those people, saying thank you. And obviously we talked about it, right? Yeah. But you took the time out to literally be grateful for someone else and
truly send heartfelt messages.
We could be jealous. We could be like, fuck, why is this not us? Right? Like, why am I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I want to be on the stage, right? But like,
and you will.
We could have took the jealousy route, or we could be like, damn, dude, it is super cool to see what's possible by friends of ours winning. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about one more thing, some of the shifts and the dynamics and the pivots of what we've been able to do, what we're trying to do with the kids, and how indirectly or directly, whichever way you want it to look at it, that being the oak, the constant state of self-development and self-improvement actually helps the people around you in our dome, which is our family of 5, and those who choose to listen to us outside of the dome. I mean, Kevin we just had coffee at the house here, and Kev was talking about Sam, his roommate, and his nephew, right, who's always with him, and how, when he's working out, Sam wants to work out, his nephew wants to work out, how that spider web effect, that tree, that oak, exactly. That tree. I want to talk, we know that people are being inspired. You see it in your gym you're having right now. People are showing up that would have never showed up, who are taking that leap of faith. That, that lady and her daughters last night, I won't say who they are, but right. They took that step and they come in and they're facing their fears and they're doing the shit. And they did that because you step out and did yours, right? It's been some transactional I'll use the word transactional, but it's been, how about intentional things you've done in your life, the way you've crafted this life and created this life and living with intensity and honesty and integrity. But what's cool about it is what we're doing inside of the Dome for R5.
100%.
We, excuse me, we did a video, or I did a video in the morning the other day, and the way that, like, nothing was scripted. It was not, it was real.
It was your real deal life.
We do it, right? Pouring what I have into the people around me and what you're doing with the kids. Talk about the power and the importance as a mom, what it means for the kids to be able to see you improving yourself, and how you then take your small improvements on it. There's small little things each day, and you dump them onto them. Just tell them how you're living your life right now.
Yeah, I love that. So many women, moms, parents, people in this country, people in any country, they want to tell their kids, tell, hey, you gotta eat right. You gotta exercise. You gotta talk positivity. You gotta be nice to people. You can't be, kids don't give a shit about telling them. They give a shit about what you're doing. Actions. Every single day, our kids see us lifting, exercising, training people. They see you helping. They hear you coaching. Every day, our kids see us being kind to people. It's so funny. You know how your kids like write you cute little notes or whatever. Every single time, all of my kids are like, "You're just so nice to everybody. You're just so nice to everybody," right? And I think that's so funny. I am.
I only get you take me to the store.
What you do? But truthfully, everything that we do, we eat right. Our kids, and our kids still love snacks. They're 12, 9, and 7 years old. But majority of the time, our son, when he wakes up in the morning, he's cooking eggs. He cooks by himself. He's cooking eggs. He'll throw a little ground turkey in there, and he's got cut up strawberries. He'll pack his own lunch, and it's got pistachios, and it's got ground turkey. Yes. And this isn't because I'm telling him he needs to eat healthy. This is because this is what he sees you and I eat on a daily basis. Everything that we do, we lead by example is what we do. How I want my kids to grow up, or hopefully grow up, is exactly how we live every day. Seeing you make decisions, doing the hard work, working all the time, still finding time to help people, still finding time to go play pig with Jade last night after I know you were so tired. Playing 6 games of Uno with Bailey when I know, like, all these things matter.
Well, that's really what life is, right? If I take the mic for a minute, life isn't, I think Jordan Peterson said it, life isn't about Mai Tais in the Bahamas or on some beach, right? Those are going to be moments, like, you think you're working towards a success to basically get away and be able to live this big extravagant life. I'm going to have a yacht. We're going to have a yacht. We're going to have private jets. We're going to have multiple homes. We're going to have hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth, if not billions of dollars, because that's what I'm going after, because it's possible in the world. Yeah. I don't know there's no guaranteed path. I don't know the exact path, but I'm fucking going. The end. Whether that's through just I'm a comeback or whatever. I don't have to explain myself, but that's what I'm going for. So those moments of life, and we have a lot of those moments, but really what it is, it's the little things. And I think too many people take that for granted.
They absolutely they do. And I want, it's so imperative. And I don't need to go on like some like spiritual thing, but what you put out into the world. I'm not talking about what you say, although that matters too. I'm talking about your physical actions and what you put out into the world, the time, the patience, the love, the commitment. Putting all of that good frequency and all those good energies out there, it'll come back to you that way. I don't care who you are or what you believe in. It is the truth.
And put it into your home first. Like, you may not be prepared to take it out to the world. Not everybody has to take it to the main stage right out of the gate.
No, of course not. Little things, you can start with little actions, but seeing how you and I, and actually I'm way better at saying no to the kids than you are. And it doesn't mean you have to say yes all the time, but why wouldn't you say yes all the time? It really boils down to, again, that message that we kept repeatedly hearing this weekend is, if you only had one more day or one more chance, or why wouldn't you?
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
I've been living my life like that. And sometimes
forever.
I think, you like, we didn't call it that, but if you lock it, you're like, man, why do you put so much on your plate, man? Because if tomorrow's not promised.
Tomorrow's not promised. And I mean,
it gets counterproductive sometimes, not going to lie, right?
Sure.
I could be better at my time, but yesterday, for instance, I got done working. not even get done working. I'm still in the middle of my workday. I stop what I'm doing. I take Phoenix to basketball. I back to the gym. I spend 1 hour and 15 minutes driving all the way back to his mom. Like I literally coach him through that, come home, go back to work for a little bit, sit down. Bailey in the middle of work wants me to play Uno with her. I play Uno with her. I go get done, go back out, finish the few things I'm working out, sit down, getting ready to call it a night. Jade says she wants to play Pig. I get up off my ass and I go play Pig.
And I know you were tired. And I know that there's moms and there's dads that listen to this podcast and they're going to be like, God, like their daughter, their son is going to come up and is going to ask them to, and maybe not even ask them because you've let them down so many times. To be honest, that might be their reality too. But
you've trained them to
not be able to count on you,
and
but to go out of your way and to make that connection, to make that connection with your son, your daughter, your wife, your mom, whoever, because. And then we don't need to be morbid, but it's the truth. Tomorrow is not promised. As soon as we walk out of here, it is not promised. You know, if people went through our text messages, they would probably be like, "Oh my God, you guys are so like cringy or cliche," because it's so lovey-dovey. It's so, to many people, maybe over the top. It's just to us, it's our standard. But why wouldn't I send you that? Why wouldn't I tell you 5,000 times a day how much I love you and how much I think you're amazing and how you lead our family? I'm going to tell our kids and kiss them. I'm going to tell Phoenix he's amazing and shredded. I'm going to say all the things. I'm going to do all the actions. And I know you're going to, and so many people look past that. Well, why isn't this working in my life? Why aren't these people doing this? Or why can't I get in those connections? Because you're too good to do all these little things. You're too good to say those things.
The boring shit.
The boring stuff.
The hard stuff.
The hard stuff, sure. Yeah. You're not aligned. You're not aligned, man. Like people are missing that.
That's a great thing. You know, I can only speak from my from my journey, right? When I set out this long before I had you, I made a commitment to Phoenix that I was never going to fucking hurt him, right? Or let him down or leave him behind. And sure. There's obviously things as my career is progressing where it gets it's getting harder to be at everything, but I put the work in like every single day. And you know what's cute is even when you do, if by chance, like, oh, you're going to be in Utah or wherever you're going to be, and you're going to probably miss a basketball game. And you know what our son is going to say? He's going to be like, oh, Dad, I wish you were here. But he's going to be like, I'm really proud of you for going and chasing your dreams. I'm really proud of you for doing this. He's not going to be that kid that's got his head hanging low, being like, oh, my dad didn't show up again. My mom, And there's another thing about that. And I'm fortunate about that because what I've done too is I put in daily deposits even into his coach. Whether I don't know if his coach will listen to this or not, but his coach will go pick him up and help him and do the stuff that everything's going through. And it's because I literally pour in fathering advice to him without him even know what I'm doing because I know that he's going to be guiding my son.
Right.
We watched a movie the other day. I think it was Den of Thieves, right? And it was the guy talking about how people don't even know I'm in control of my situation. I'm in control of my situation 24/7.
And it's exhausting. You got to be,
even with other outside people, some people call it manipulation or whatever you want. No, man, I'm here for fucking me.
Yeah. It's an intention. It's a standard. And people listen, the world listens, the universe is listening and everything is aligning with what you're saying and what you're doing. And so many people are going to miss that. So many gentlemen on here are going to miss that. They're like, oh, I'm saying I want this. I'm saying you're not doing it. You're not even attempting. You're just saying it because it sounds good. Line yourself up. When your daughter asks to play Uno, go freaking play Uno. When your son wants you to rebound for him, go rebound. When your daughter wants you to sit and do crafts with her, even though you suck at drawing, sit there and spend that time with her. Align yourself. Put the good out there and good will come back to you every single time.
I love it. So we've been going a little while. I don't know how long it's been. Let us do a call to action. The one that I had, the one I had in mind was simple, and you can put your 2 cents in on this. I painted the picture of an oak tree, right?
Yep.
Literally look on your phone or get out a pen and paper or crayons and crafts. We got that shit laying all over our house and draw an oak tree, right? Draw like two oak trees that are intertwined together. And then ask your significant other, your partner, what can I do better? What do we do good together? Like, how are we strengthening this thing? What little daily deposits are we being intentional about within our family, within our relationship? And I'll give it out to you guys real quick. The comeback is built off of the core values or the code known as the Comeback 7: faith, finances, family, fitness, future, freedom, and foundation. Each one of those are branches. And once you figure out how to do one thing in each branch, how do you do multiple things in that branch? But it starts with you coming together and actually having a conversation of where are we going together? What matters to us? How do we be our best? Like, if it's important to you, you'll do it. It just makes zero sense to me to get up every day and just go through a relationship without putting any work into it. Like,
I agree.
Why did you even get married? Or if you're not married, like, don't get married. If you're like, here's my advice to you guys that are just
if you have no intention on growing and guiding and leading as the man and as the wife to grow with and to put yourself in these uncomfortable positions, if you want a solid oak tree like you and I have, like so many other comebacks now have, you need to do that together.
And for me personally, I'm going to build a fucking world of oak trees, not just on me, but on every man that hears my message and how they can be strong and how they can be leaders. Through my kids. Like I did a video yesterday or the other day talking about how I'm indirectly responsible for thousands and thousands of kids. Like, think about that for a second. The way that I handle myself, the way that I show up every day as this message that I'm delivering progresses through time. It started with one man. I just happen to be member number one who did this, but then it goes on and on and on. And if each family, we've impacted 10,000 men, I would imagine that let's call it half of those guys have a family of 2 kids, which is pretty much normal, right? Like, how many kids did I truly impact? Like, thousands and thousands of men. And I want to make men and kids and women. Yep. We are going to make oak trees. Right.
And if you're that gentleman or if you're that wife on the other end of this podcast and you're listening and you feel called to be that one, like Mark is that one for our family, it starts by you leading and doing by example. So that means that you want your kids to grow up and be kind and be loving and help people and take time with their kids and their grandchildren. That starts with you taking the time, playing that Uno, so that way your kids can look back and be like, dang, you know what? My dad took time to do this. I'm going to take time to do this. Dang, I saw my mom and dad lifting in the gym every day. I'm going to teach my kids that. I saw my dad and my mom hustling and making money every day and doing these big things. Guess what I'm going to do? You were that one for us.
I'm going to leave it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't sell anything on this one. We just do it to give some of our time and look into our lives. However, if you'd like to support us, please share this with somebody that needs to hear it, pass it on, and do something with your life. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.